W-T-L.
It's time!
W-T-L.
I think we got a show. Oh yeah, we got a show.
W-T-L.
And welcome to Where's the Line, everybody. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
That's right, WTL, Nebraska's only sports betting show. And Jabron, we got a dandy in store for the folks today.
We do. We got pro football. We got college football starting up.
Yeah.
We got UFC Fight Night on Saturday night.
Yep.
Yeah, we got it all.
We're going to be talking Big 10, Big 12, and of
Yep.
course, we're going to be covering the Packers, the Chiefs,
Yep.
the Cowboys.
The Broncos.
Yeah. We can't get away from those guys.
Of course not.
So let's dive right into it. We got a pick'em here.
Yeah.
Between the Packers and the Chiefs. Thursday night football. It's already back.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, the line is even right here at a pick'em game. Over-unders at 36 there, Andy. So they think that they're going to score a little bit, but not, crazy points. Like we said, it's the Packers versus Chiefs conclude their preseason Thursday night in Arrowhead.
A couple Midwestern teams squaring off in Kansas City.
Exactly. The Packers lost their preseason opener against the 49ers and rebounded by defeating the Saints the next week. The Chiefs dropped their first preseason to the Bears.
Yes, they did.
And beat
Called
the Commanders last week. So both these guys are 1-1 going into this. I'm kind of leaning Packers on this one just because I know.
You know what?
I know that Patrick Mahomes is not going to play in this game. And they do not have the quarterback depth that I believe that they need to win this game. Jordan Love is pretty much going to play this whole game for the Green Bay Packers, and I just think he's that upper echelon.
He's just a little bit better, you're thinking?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be.
Exactly.
I mean, first-round pick, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Been riding the pine.
Yeah. The Packers were pleased with his performance. In the previous two games, accumulated right around 300 passing yards. Mahomes has played a little bit, but he won't play in this one. The Chiefs lost their first preseason game, and Mahomes only played one series in that game.
He looked good.
Yeah, exactly.
He looked real good.
Furthermore, Andy Reid doesn't necessarily play to win these games. He's a below 500 mark in the preseason.
But this one's at home, and it's at home, and he wants to get something positive going here in the preseason. I know they won one game, but I think he's going to want to keep the fans happy, give them something to make them feel better heading into the regular season here.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right. I just know that most Kansas City fans know if Travis ain't playing, Mahomes ain't playing, that they're not really trying to win this game.
Right.
And like I said about the Chiefs QB depth, they have barely played Chad Henne, which is their backup. They're battling for that number 3 spot between Shane Belshie and Dustin Crum right now. So I just think with that third spot, they're trying to figure out who they need to keep on the roster, who they don't. I just don't think they're going to project a lot of points. I think Jordan Love is going to try and get a little bit of repertoire with these younger receivers with the Packers and put some points on the board.
Well, I just pulled a little something up here, and it's the injury report.
Yeah.
And oh my God, the Packers, they ran out of ink. I mean, there's like 11 players.
Oh, yeah.
3 on the physically unable to perform list, and a lot of these guys are linebackers, safeties, cornerbacks. Another linebacker I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
So it might pave the way for a little bit of an easier schedule here, or matchup for these backup quarterbacks. And you also got to think Chad Henne is going to be playing a little bit more than what he has been, if for no other reason, to get up to snuff, get up to speed here.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely could be right on this one, Andy. Again, with these preseason games, it's so hard to know. It's so hard to know what you're going to get into. That's why the line is where it's at. It's just at an even pick 'em because these line makers in Vegas and everything really don't know who's going to play.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because, we just kind of skimmed right over that or went right through it. Pick 'em. That means that this game is so tight that the odds maker, the bookies, they have this as a coin toss.
Right.
Nobody is really the favorite.
Nobody's the favorite, and that's because of all the reasons we just put out there. Nobody knows who's going to be playing quarterback. Nobody knows who's going to be playing linebacker. That's why I think the backup quarterback situation for the Packers is a better situation.
Yeah.
That's why I'm leaning on the Packers, and I'm not going to touch that over-under because I do not know who is going to be scoring and if they're going to be scoring a lot. So,
all right, I'll buy that for $1 from you, but I'm going Arrowhead.
Okay.
The Chiefs are going to pull this one off in Arrowhead.
All right.
And welcome back to WTL, everybody. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
This is Where's the Line, Nebraska's only sports betting show.
Yes, sir.
And college football is finally here.
Week 0.
And we got a couple matchups we need to talk about.
We
Big
do.
Ten.
Big time.
I think people have heard by now that Nebraska might be playing a game against Northwestern.
Yep, in Dublin, Ireland.
Or in Ireland, eh?
Yep.
Then we also, though, have another Big Ten foe that we've had our troubles with in the Illinois Fighting Illini.
Yeah, week 0 last year.
Yes, and now they're back at it.
They are.
I think that also kind of shows you what Big Ten likes to do with some of the teams.
On the lower echelon. Yeah. 4 of the last 5 teams in the Big Ten are playing on week 0.
This
So
is sending Northwestern, NU, and NU across the pond.
yeah.
And Wyoming is heading on over to Champaign, Illinois to take on the Fighting Illini.
Yeah.
Jabron, this one opened up around 10 points. A lot of books have it at 11 now as the Illinois Fighting Illini as the favorite. Where are you at on this one?
Yeah, you'll find it on books mostly, like you said, from 9.5 all the way up to 11 at this point, with that over/under sitting right at 44.
Yep.
44 points. So I am leaning towards the Illini here.
Okay.
Wyoming, their 2021 was kind of filled with highs and lows.
7-6.
Yeah, accumulating with a
Won a bowl game.
famous Idaho Potato Bowl victory over
Hey.
Kent State.
Ho-ho.
Meanwhile, Illinois hopes to bounce back after finishing 3rd worst in the Big Ten's West Division last year. 2nd year for Brett Bielema. Brought in a new
Old Wisconsin guy.
Yep. He brought in a new offensive coordinator this year, so they're trying to up that point value that they were just averaging 20 points a game, which ranked them about 111th in the nation.
He was trying to rush the ball like he was still at Wisconsin, and he just
Exactly.
did not have the horses to do that.
Definitely
Offensive
not.
linemen weren't there. Running backs weren't there. It wasn't Melvin Gordon.
No.
It wasn't Monty Ball.
No.
Yeah.
While Wyoming had a better end of their 2021 campaign, Illinois is the better team here. The Cowboys have proven in the past that they have a really rough time with the Big Ten, going 0-6 and straight up with their last 6 games against the conference teams.
Hey, but they're going to be taking a nice little paycheck home regardless.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
No
doubt about it.
And a lot of the models that I've been looking at, they're not saying Wyoming's going to win this game, but they're saying that they're going to cover. And I'm looking at the 10 points, and it's moved up to 11 in the book that I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So I really like that. I like putting a little bit of my faith in some of these cybermetrics. I'm also looking at Wyoming had a kind of a quarterback tussle last year where they never really had one set starter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? They both transferred out.
Right.
So they transfer a guy in, this Andrew Peasley guy from
Yes,
Utah
sir.
State. I think he's the real deal. I think he's going to be better than both options they had last year.
Yeah, no. He's
Which
supposed
they
to be
had
an
a winning
upgrade.
season.
Yeah.
And they won a bowl game. Albeit it was the Potato Bowl.
Yeah.
But that's better than what Nebraska's been in the last couple of years, okay?
They haven't been.
All right. And all I
yeah.
got to do here is keep it within a couple scores here. If I'm the Cowboys, and we know they can do that. We've seen that in Lincoln.
Yeah.
Give us a little scare with old Josh Allen.
Well,
Remember that?
Yeah, one of the best players in the NFL. I'll give him that one.
Hey. So I like Wyoming covering. I'm not going to pick them to win. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, this is a spot here where it's week 0. I still don't have any faith in Illinois, even though they've handed the Huskers a loss or two over the years since we joined the Big Ten. I think this is a sneaky place where you can pick an underdog to cover.
Well, I'm going to tell you why you're dead wrong on this one,
here
Andy.
we go. Okay.
Jabron's got it on this one. The Fighting Illini usually start their campaign on the right track. Illinois is 10-1 straight up in its last 11 first games of the season.
Okay.
It may not be the highest scoring game of the week, but I expect Illinois to put on a dominant performance. I'm predicting a final score of 32-14. Illinois over the Cowboys, which is going to cover that 11. I could even take it up to 11.5 at this point.
You think so?
But I just really think, again, Illinois rarely loses first game, which I expect them to continue. I don't think Wyoming has the offense to keep up with their counterpart, which should lead to Illinois covering that 11 points.
I think this Peasley's the real deal. He averaged over 92 yards rushing. He's a dual-threat quarterback. And, oh, by the way, out of 130 FBS teams last year in Division I.
Yep.
Illinois, was one of the worst defenses. There was only 14 defenses that they were better than.
Yes.
So I think you're going to be paired against an offense that might be better than it was last year, which wasn't terrible. I get it, wasn't playing against Big Ten defenses.
We're talking Big Ten, dog.
Big Ten, dog. We're talking week 0, too, where they might not be getting the, the slump, the cupcake that they were looking for in the Cowboys coming to town.
Yeah.
But it's not a toss-up, right? Illinois is a heavy favorite here. I'm just saying the Cowboys should be able to keep that within 11 and a half. And what'd you say? Some books had it up even higher.
Yeah, no, it's going to trend probably higher just because people are going to think that Illinois is going to blow these guys out, which I am predicting to happen. So, Illinois is 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games, which I think really trends in this one.
Okay.
And I really think they're going to put a beating on these guys, probably by multiple touchdowns, which would cover that 11.
And the odds makers are on your side as far as the money line. Heavy favorites, minus 425 for Illinois. Plus,
not a lot of value there.
No, I'm staying away from the money line on both sides unless I got some late information on Wyoming why they're totally going to win or Illinois is going to lose with that plus 335.
For sure.
But I'm going to stay away from that. If I am going to bet this, it's going Cowboys cover. You got the Cowboys? You have Illinois covering.
I have Illinois.
Illini. All right.
Fighting Illini covering the 11 points. I might even take a look at that over there, that 44 points right there.
Oh, yeah?
I do believe, like you said, that quarterback for Wyoming probably will put a couple touchdowns in the end zone, and I am projecting
I like that.
The Illini to probably have close to 30 points. So with those 2 touchdowns plus the, with Illinois, right there in that 28 to 35
44.
range, you're right there. So I do like that over. I don't know if I'm going to take it, but I am taking the minus 11 for the Fighting Illini. They're going to cover.
All right, we're split on that one. I like the Cowboys covering that.
Yes, sir.
Let's get to the main event.
Yeah.
Northwestern squaring off with Nebraska in Ireland, Dublin, Ireland. Nebraska, heavy favorites, and the line keeps moving on up.
Let's keep going.
Okay, Jerron.
Yeah.
Let me have it. Who you going with here and why?
Okay. Like you said, showdown between the Nebraska Cornhuskers and the Northwestern Wildcats. Nebraska has been one of the worst Big Ten teams in the last couple seasons.
You don't say.
Last year, just going 1-8 against conference and 3-9 overall. But guess who that one win was?
Hey, we were there. We were there for that game,
and
that was fun.
Kicked the crap out of them.
Thank you, Toure. I see why you're playing for the Packers.
Yes, Northwestern wasn't any better than Nebraska last season. Obviously, they were
3-9.
worse. Patchford Fitzgerald's squad finished with the exact same record as the Cornhuskers, but finished second to last due of the Nebraska holding the tiebreaker. The line right now, I'm looking at it at 13 points towards Nebraska, with the money line sitting at minus 525 towards the Huskers.
Yeah.
Plus 375 if you're on the Wildcats. Not a lot of value there if you're a Husker fan. The over-under is sitting at 49.5. I am liking that. I am liking that. I am predicting a final score of this game to be 42-13 towards the Cornhuskers.
You're not just drinking Kool-Aid. You're drinking big red Kool-Aid.
I got
as red as it can get.
I got a picture from Hastings Museum there. No, Nebraska absolutely decimated Northwestern 2021.
They did.
56-7.
Okay,
Nebraska's defense should be a lot better this year.
What?
Yes.
How can you say that? JoJo Doman's not there anymore.
We got two better edge rushers than we've ever had.
Unproven.
Both team captains, Garrett Nelson, Caleb Tanner, are going to wreak havoc on this Northwestern offense. They do not know what's coming. I don't think that they're going to score 14 points, and I believe that Casey Thompson is going to take the helm here and put it on Northwestern.
Okay, we knew we had to talk Casey Thompson here, and I'll even throw in O'Shawn Mathis. I think he has a lot of upside to him.
Yeah.
But just because you have new pieces to this puzzle doesn't mean they're going to perform better on the field.
Yeah.
How many times as a Nebraska fan have I said, on paper, man, we could win 9 games. We should win 9 games. We're probably going to win 11 games.
Every year.
And this year's the same way. I mean, these guys are all 4- and 5-star recruits. Okay, well then why didn't it work out for you at TCU or Texas? There's a reason behind that. I'm not saying it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But here we go on Fox, prime time, Dublin, Ireland, and we're just expecting this puzzle to just come together off of a head coach with a head coach that took a pay cut, just because that's what he wanted to do, I guess.
Yeah, well,
he's 15-29, right?
Yep.
Overall.
Yes,
career.
sir.
So what makes me think that all of a sudden a team that they go back and forth with every year, that's the story behind this. And I've seen a lot of articles, rankings, we just can't get over rankings.
Yeah.
Pat Fitzgerald's always 1 or 2 in best coaches in the Big Ten. He's behind Jason Day, sometimes Harbaugh, usually not.
No.
But he's usually right there at 2 or 1. And Scott Frost is always 13 or 14. So there's a coaching edge here, and there's quite the wild card being tossed here in that it's overseas and it's in week 0.
Yeah. Just a couple things that I'm going to keep beating a dead horse here, but we kicked the crap out of these guys last year, and I believe our team is better. I believe our team is a lot better.
You talk about the defense, what, 5 returning starters.
Yep.
5 returning starters.
For sure. Yep. We shouldn't have any problems.
Let me throw you a bone
this
here.
Team.
I'll throw you a little bone here.
Yeah.
Nebraska is 8-1 ATS against the spread.
Yeah.
Last 10 games when they travel over 1,000 miles or more. Well, guess what?
It's a little more than that.
Traveling over 1,000 air.
Yeah. We've hit. I'm not even to my best bet of this segment yet, Andy.
Okay.
It is the over 50.5 points. I believe this is going to hit. The total has hit with the over for Nebraska the last 5 out of 7 games. I think our offense is more potent. I think it's going to produce more points this year. This 50.5 is going to happen.
You're at 50.5?
50.5.
Oh, man. See, my book's still behind. It's still sitting there at 49.5. Well, I need to jump on that, huh?
You need to jump on it. We might score that. We're scoring 42 for sure.
Oh, my God. You're going to have some in-game bets here. I
yes,
feel like
sir.
you're going to
yes, sir.
exhaust up a little bit, getting revving, wrecking, ready to go. Oh, my God. You know what I usually say at this part of the show?
Yeah.
Jabron, you ignorant schmuck.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. I am drinking the Kool-Aid, and I just follow this team a lot more than I follow any other college football team, and I really, really like them to cover this point spread at 13 and for this best bet of the segment to go over 50.5 points.
I'm going to be a little bit of an optimistic here, and I'm just going to agree with you, okay?
Okay.
I'm not going to start the season off this way.
Here we go.
Huskers, you got to do it for me. You got to come through
Yes,
on this
sir.
one.
Yes, sir.
You're going to cover the 14. It's moved all the way up from 12 and a half to 14. Oh, my God.
That's trending towards us because they know we got the sauce.
Oh, my God. I'm going against so many different stat lines here and coaching pedigree that I usually like to shy away from. But no, Jabron, I'm going to hop on board with you here.
There we go.
Huskers are going to do it.
Cover 13, over 49.5, over 50.5 on some books. Lock it in.
There you go, folks. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL, and when we come back, Jabron, the Parlay Pounder, what are we going to be talking about?
We got UFC Fight Night. We got more football with the pros finishing up their preseason.
Yes.
We got a whole bunch of stuff ready.
Big 10, Big 12 futures, all sorts of fun stuff.
No doubt about it.
All right, folks, don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back to WTL. Where's the line? Everybody, I'm your host, Andy Class, and joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the Parlay Pounder.
You know it.
And here we go. We're getting right into your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
We talk college football.
Yep.
A lot of fun. Had to. Huskers over there in Dublin, Iowa.
Week 0.
I guess there's like betting machines on like every corner over there. Like they're a little more ahead of the curve than Nebraska, but we're getting there.
We're getting there.
Beautiful.
Very soon.
Beautiful casinos going up in all sorts of places. Grand Island, Lincoln, Omaha, South Sioux City. So it's coming. It's on the way. But first things first, let's get into UFC Fight Night. I know you're eyeballing a couple big-time matchups here. We'll start with Robert Whittaker.
Yeah.
Marvin Vettori.
Yeah, for sure. The UFC visits France for its very first time, September 3rd, Saturday night. And the promotion, just like you said, has an electric card with two major fights in it. Cyril Gane versus Tuivasa and Robert Whittaker and Marvin Vettori. All these guys are ranked in the top 5 of their respective weight classes. All of them looking for that title shot. Oh my gosh.
And there's also a really fun international flair to this, as we have a hometown favorite. We have a couple guys from Australia, a guy from Italy here, and Vettori. So a lot of these guys, we see a lot of Americans, and we're used to seeing them, rise up through different, we see them around.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it.
That's not necessarily the case here. Some of these guys, they've been in the UFC for a while, but they're a lot better known internationally than they are here in the States.
For sure. And like you said, Robert Whittaker versus Marvin Vettori. The line as it stands right now is Robert the Reaper Whittaker is sitting at a -240, so he is a big favorite in this. That means that you would have to risk 240 to win that $100. Risk that 240 to win that $100. Marvin Vettori, the Italian Dream, on the other side of it is at a +193, which would mean you bet the $100 and you win the 193.
It's called the Dream.
The Italian Dream.
The Italian Dream. I mean, he's a good-looking man. I'm secure. I'm cool.
You're secure.
But he's a good-looking man, and he's at +195. So that ultimately means a $100 bet sets you up to win.
195.
195
for sure. Whittaker and Vettori are two of the most elite middleweight fighters on the planet. This fight promises to be a very intriguing one. Apart from their losses to Israel Adesanya, which is the last style bender, which is the middleweight champion who does not lose. Both fighters have been in fine form inside the octagon lately, besides fighting Adesanya. Vettori has an aggressive wrestling-based style, whereas Whittaker is much more of a rounded fighter who can strike as well grapple. However, he is more likely to keep this fight on his feet against the world-class grappling of Vettori.
He's not going to want to go to the mat with Vettori.
For sure not.
And before I really dive into that, it doesn't set you up for pause at all that Whittaker's last fight was a loss. It was to Adesanya. But it was a loss, and Vettori, on the other hand, 18-5-1 overall record. His last fight was a win. So you have one guy coming off a win, one guy coming off a loss.
Just with these guys, Andy, I would mostly say that, some of this is, kind of a fight streak. You take the hot hand. With these guys being on top of their game and at top of this middleweight division, except for Adesanya, I really don't think it matters right here. These guys are fighting for that third chance to fight Adesanya. So I really think this is just, wipe the slate clean. These guys are both going after a title shot.
This is a middleweight. This is a middleweight, true middleweight bout here.
Exactly.
And the stats, they show what you're saying, where Whittaker wins, 42% of his fights by KO.
For sure.
21% by submission. Flip that over to Vettori, only 11% of his fights does he win by KO. 50% by submission. Now, you've already said Whittaker's going to want to stay upright. He's not going to want to go to the mat. Well, that's much easier said than done with a guy that's ranked 3rd in the world. And he's made his living by getting people to the mat.
Exactly. Vettori will be looking to secure the takedown in this fight because Whittaker is a much better fighter on his feet, like you said. If he fails to, take the Reaper down, though, it may turn out to be a rough night for the Italian Dream. Whittaker will try to remain elusive on his feet and keep tagging Vettori from a safe distance, Andy. Since he's got way more... I just feel like way more ways to win in this fight. I feel Whittaker is likely...
More tools in the toolbox.
Exactly. Whittaker is likely to emerge victorious on this one. My verdict is that he is going to win this. So if you're going to straight bet this, there's not much value there just because you're sitting there with that -240. That's why I will be throwing in to my parlay at the end of this segment.
There we go. And... just for folks that don't know, okay, so you kind of mentioned the -230. That means if you bet $100, let's just grab that number, $100, you're wagering, $100 to win what? $23.
Yes.
I mean, that's terrible odds.
It's very, very bad.
Yeah, so you don't want to set yourself up for that. And that also shows that's why Vettori is at plus. On the other side of that, he's at plus 195.
Exactly. That's the way that these fights look. And with these fights, they're always fun to, kind of look at, especially early in the week because, these fight lines change a lot more aggressively than I would say like football or basketball or anything like that. Just because
that this game, we just saw it last weekend. Kamaru Usman,
that was insane.
The Carney product, the Carney wrestling product, the overall pound per pound.
Out of Kearney, Nebraska.
Exactly. Exactly. He was the pound for pound best fighter in the UFC.
Yep.
And the guy that was going against him was at a plus 380, Leon Edwards. And it came down to the last minute of the fight, kicked him in the head.
Lights out.
It's over. It's such a sport that anything could happen. Just at
any moment.
At any moment. So it's if you want to take a little bit of a risk on some of this plus money, it's always there for you just because it can always hit. You just asked me the question on Robert Whittaker. He's at a minus 240. I risk $100 on him. I win $41. So a little bit better than what we said, but still not great odds.
And that's called the juice, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean that's the price to play. That's the rake or the take that the casino, the house is going to make you pay
for sure
in order to pick such an overall heavy favorite.
Exactly.
So that's what they're getting at right there. And you still like Robert Whittaker. You just don't want to bet that money line.
I like the Reaper. I'm gonna put that in my parlay later on in the segment.
All right, so then let's do it. Let's move on to the main event, the heavyweight bout.
It's time.
Cyril Gane, the Frenchman.
Yes, sir.
Hometown favorite.
Yep.
Over Tuivasa.
Tai Tuivasa, a.k.a. Bam Bam. The two are ranked in the top 3 of the UFC heavyweight division. Will most likely be fighting for a chance to challenge for the belt, at least. I go back and forth on this one, Andy.
Tui's so much fun. I get it. Tui's a lot of fun.
Tui's so much fun, but the line is so glaring on this one.
Yeah.
Cyril Gane is a minus 650 favorite, with Tai Tuivasa coming in at a plus 450 favorite. Hey, the MMA community, I've been following this one for a little bit. They go back and forth on this one a little bit, Andy, just because Tai Tuivasa comes into this with a massive five fight win streak, all of them being knockouts,
and he was an underdog in a lot of them.
Exactly,
he was
with his most surprising one coming over the Black Beast, Derek Lewis, and knocked him unconscious.
Yep.
It was he is on a straight roll here.
I called you crazy when you took Tui on,
Tuivasa against Derek Lewis. For the sake of these odds, Andy, and that's what I'm saying right now. For the sake of these odds, I'm going to go with Tuivasa. His power, the momentum he has, the massive value in the pick, he is leading me to make this decision. He has the ability to end the fight at any moment with his fury and nasty hooks and elbows in the clinch. He's going to try and clinch him a little bit, but where he can get into hot water on that is Gane is a superior wrestler, the fastest dude in this division by far, the most overall, best, just trying to stay away from you guy that can, hurt you in anything. Gane is going to do his best to stay in the center of the octagon, but I fully expect Tuivasa to show his heart and not let Gane play the game he wants to play for 25 minutes.
Yeah, Gane's just a straight linebacker, 6'4", 250.
Yeah.
Where Bam Bam,
exactly.
6'2", 265, just a big dude. I mean, he looks like an out-of-shape offensive lineman.
No,
is what he looks like.
He does, but he has the power. And like you said, Cyril Gane just looks like he was molded from,
Oh, he's cut.
Yeah. He's just a freaking athlete. Gane obviously has the technical advantage and the hometown advantage in this fight. That is why that line is so askewed.
Right.
I expect the France crowd to be
first ever fight, UFC fight in Paris,
I
in
expect
France.
them to be just electric the
it's
whole
gonna be
night.
Wild.
And behind him, the best French fighter that has ever been probably will be headlining.
He's a heavyweight.
Card.
It's a lot of fun,
Exactly.
man.
But for the sake of these odds and for the sake of this pick, I have to go with Tuivasa at that plus money.
Just love that plus money too much.
Exactly. But I'm not going to take it straight up, Andy. I'm not going to throw a lot of money on it. What I'm going to do on this UFC fight card is I'm just going to make one bet. Jabron's parlay of the week.
That's why they call you the parlay pounder.
I'm taking Robert Whittaker at a minus 240. And then adding to that, I am putting Tai Tuivasa at the plus 450. I am going to put $50 on this to end up winning $339.
There we go. Those are the odds we like.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what you try to look for in these fights. You kind of find a couple guys that you can take a flyer
pick your spots,
on, pick your spots,
yep.
and do a little, 2-team, 3-team parlay, something with not a lot of legs that you can lose a lot of spots in, just to be fun.
I will say this, Bam Bam, the big gripe on him, last 3 or 4 fights since we've really been getting into it,
sure.
and bringing up one thing that just kept on coming up in all the articles that I was reading is he doesn't have the experience. He hasn't paid his dues. He doesn't deserve this big of a fight. Well, we go to the other side, Gane, he's only 10-1.
Exactly.
So he's fought 11 times, where Bam Bam is sitting there at 15-3. He's got more wins.
Yep.
Okay, and he's on that 5-fight winning streak, and he's taken down some pretty big opponents. He was an underdog in all those, so he's not phased. I don't think this guy understands or, has a short memory, however you want to put that.
Exactly.
He's just out there to have fun and bash some skulls.
Exactly.
And that's what he's been able to do.
Like you said, Bam Bam does not care who it is, where it's at, anything. He's coming out like he always comes out. Just tear your head off.
So you're feeling the shoey.
I am feeling the shoey. I am feeling this 2-team parlay to hit. Like I said, we're not risking a lot of money here, guys.
No.
We're throwing a $50 bill to win $339. You could even throw a $25 bet out there to win $170. It's just a fun play to watch the fights on Saturday night.
And we've been explaining and talking about, the lines, the money lines, and what all goes into that. Explain to the folks out there exactly what is a shoey, in case they haven't seen Bam Bam in action.
Yeah, so Tai Tuivasa does this. When he knocks people out, he likes to catch a shoe from the crowd, just any random shoe that a fan will throw to him. He dumps a beer into it, and then he'll drink the beer out of the shoe.
Just chugs it.
And that is what a shoey is, and he's done it 5 times in a row.
5 times in a row. Yes, Joe Rogan for his shoe last time, and Joe's like, get out of here. This is a $2,000 shoe, buddy.
And Joe's like, well, I got to interview people after the fight, so I can't be walking around without any shoes on, so...
All right, you heard the horn there. That means we're up against it. But let's take a quick minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners. That is Play Action Pools, as they are revolutionizing group hosting platforms. Make it your new spot for all your football contest needs. Play today at playactionpools.com. And Jabron, we got some games going on with these guys, don't we?
Exactly. Like we touched on, we got some pools going on. We got a college football pick'em, which we will pick every game in the Big Ten, in the Big 12, against the spread. You kind of get that feeling of, how to bet these games, how not to bet these games. And we will have a grand prize of this college football pick'em for tickets to the Nebraska versus Wisconsin Badger game at the end of the year at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska.
How much fun is that going to be? And it's free for everyone to play. All of our listeners, all the college football fans out there, fans of the Doug and Dandy Show, whatever.
Yes.
Get on board, play. It's for free, no risk whatsoever, and there's weekly prizes and some just terrific grand prizes as well. You mentioned the Husker tickets right there.
Yes.
All right, we are not done yet, are we?
No, we are not.
We got some college football coming up here, maybe a little more NFL. We'll see what happens. Don't go anywhere, folks. This is WTL. Welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron,
the poor lay.
Yes, sir. We're back.
Oh, man, and how good is it to be back? The football season is back. Still got a little preseason to work through here, navigate through on the NFL side. So let's start right there with a couple of teams that a lot of folks around here care a lot about.
Yeah, we got the Minnesota Vikings versus the Denver Broncos out in Denver.
It's a
pick'em. It's a pick'em.
Toss-up.
It's a toss-up game. Like we said, the pick'em games are really just in the preseason just because nobody really knows who's going to play here.
Right.
For sure, we probably know Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson aren't playing.
No.
These guys both, are expected to take major step forwards with both of these offenses this year, but we will not see them compete just because afraid of getting hurt before the actual season starts. The one thing that I kind of want to, dagger in here, Andy, is the Minnesota Vikings lost their 6th consecutive preseason game last week. We were up there against the 49ers.
We witnessed it.
We were, trying to cheer for the Vikings over our brother's favorite 49ers. Couldn't happen, but...
An idiot.
While the Denver Broncos saw a 5-game winning streak get snapped in a demolishing, fashion by the Buffalo
They got
Bills.
trounced.
They did, and I'm kind of finding some value here with the Broncos.
Okay.
The Denver Broncos backups got through, like we said, just destroyed by the Buffalo Bills, 42-15. I expect better from Denver moving forward, but that performance obviously didn't inspire much confidence in their depth.
Right.
Buffalo averaged 7.7 yards on the ground, and the Broncos need a much, much better effort on run defense moving forward.
They do.
The weakness will likely be, Minnesota strategy trying to throw that with their, running backs. They won't have Dalvin Cook, obviously, but they will be trying to, kind of find a way to run the football a lot. As it seems, Viking coach kind of want to get their looks at their backup quarterbacks a little bit as well.
Right.
We saw that in the game that we went to.
Oh, man.
Kellen Mond was throwing it all over the place.
Couple picks, right?
Couple picks.
That's what did it. That's what did it.
It was pretty bad. So, Minnesota passed the ball 35 times last week. It did not look very well for them.
And I was flipping through the program. We were there, and they had this big write-up on like their third string tight end who they're trying to move into the second string. And how he's a family man, and how he's really coming on. They liked him back last year. And what did he drop? 2 or 3 passes?
He dropped one, probably 75-yard touchdown, which was the one for me to stand up in the crowd and say, "You're cut. Leave the stadium. You're no longer welcome in Minneapolis." That was pretty harsh of me to say that, but that's the way that this is in this preseason. If you are a fringe guy and you are dropping touchdowns, see you later.
And we saw some movement because then we watched the Denver game against the Bills. Where were we at? Top Golf or somewhere like that where we watched that one. And we mentioned it. Hey, we know that guy. That's Mark Rippon's son. The old Washington Commander. Back in the day, it was the Washington Redskin.
For sure.
But he was the third string quarterback. Played so well, he actually overtook that number 2 spot. So you still see, like you like to look at in the preseason anyway, when you're looking for value, who's still competing, who's fighting their, butt off for a job. And I think you have that right now with the Broncos at that quarterback spot, the most vital spot. Rippon has to show out to
secure that.
Yes.
Yes. Like you said, to secure that second place in that depth chart there behind Russell Wilson. I'm also a fan of, kind of backing a team that has a gigantic blowout in the preseason.
Right.
Especially with a team that wants to be good, just like the Denver Broncos are trying to turn over a new leaf here with Russell Wilson. Kind of want to get on a roll, or just a winning vibe going into the regular season. So I'm siding with the Broncos on this one. They'll want to erase that sour taste of last week's embarrassment to avoid carrying that into the regular season. I think they, especially at home, getting the pick'em game, they want to get those fans kind of up and going. And I just don't really think the Vikings care. Losing 6 consecutive preseason games, you can tell they don't care.
No, and they have some awesome, just spectacular offensive weapons.
Probably one of the best in the NFL.
They're going to keep them on the shelf.
For sure.
It's a proven commodity, catches a lot of heat, a lot of flack. Kirk Cousins, I don't believe it's deservedly so. Dalvin Cook's one of the best backs when healthy, so they got to keep him healthy. And I love the receiving core.
Exactly.
I really do. And on top of that, we've mentioned a couple times now, but we saw that game, and I saw how the Vikings approached the preseason. They don't care.
No, they don't care.
And they're going to be on the road. So for all those reasons, I'm going to have to side with you. I like the Broncos at home here to close out this preseason. What do you think of this over-under, though? 35.5 is where I'm looking.
What I was just going to, a little tidbit there, Andy. The 35.5, I do not see this going over by any shave of the imagination.
No, neither offense.
I don't see the Vikings scoring more than 10. I really don't see the Broncos scoring more than 17. I really think this is going to be one of those 13-7 games, 17-7 games. I really don't see this hitting a 35.5 point mark. I looked at this earlier in the week, and it was up at 40, and it's dropped 5 points since then. So I really think that people are projecting this to go way under, and I would still even go under the 35.5 for my best bet of this game.
So if you're looking to do that, get on it right now. Otherwise, that line might move a little bit more.
Yeah. I do think it's going to. I think it's probably going to be about 33-32 at the end of this week before this kicks off.
All righty, so let's shift gears here. Let's get back to the college game. College football is here.
It's here.
Kicking off week 0 with the Huskers, highlighted Huskers versus Northwestern. Let's talk one of our Big Ten foes here. always kind of stirs the pot. They always kind of like to twist the dagger a little bit, and that is the Iowa Hawkeyes.
It is.
They have a 7.5. Where have I heard this number before?
Yeah.
7.5 over/under win total.
Yeah.
Where are you leaning on this?
So just at this, just to, let our listeners kind of figure what this is. So the over/under is 7.5. They would have to win 8 games to hit that over. They would have to lose, they would have to not get to 8 to win that bet.
They win 7 games. They don't make this bet.
No.
They're under.
Exactly. And where the line is on this, Andy, is it's a -120 for the over and a -110 for the under. So what that means is you have to you would have to risk $110 on the under to win 100. You'd have to risk $120 on the over to win 100 on the over.
On the over.
Yes. So with that being said, obviously Iowa turned in a solid campaign after a hot start into 2021.
Very hot start.
Very hot start.
They were ranked number 2 in the nation at one point last year. Then, of course, they always lose a game to like a Purdue or somebody, and they did. And then Wisconsin got them. And then, of course, it's tough when you got Ohio State or somebody like that on the schedule as well. But last year, Purdue totally exposed them.
Yeah.
But they still won 10 games last year.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they got some really good pieces coming back. They got their defensive back Riley Moss is one Big
7
Ten.
returning starters on offense, 7 on defense. So it's not like a total rebuild mold at all.
And they have their quarterback Spencer Petras, back in the fold after playing 12 games last season. Is however you feel about him, he is a returning starter that did play every game for Iowa last year.
Yeah.
I do think this is going to be a down year for Iowa.
Really?
I do think it's going to be a down year for Iowa.
It's kind of their story, isn't it?
It's
kind of it goes with a lot of Big Ten teams. Northwestern goes up, then they go down. Iowa goes up, then they go down.
Yeah.
Even Wisconsin to a certain extent. They'll win 12 games and then they'll come back to earth and only win 8. Or 9 games the following year. So you're not too far off there. I got this college football betting guide, that was sent my way. Wes Reynolds had just a spectacular conversation with him on a previous pod. We're mostly focused on Huskers, but we did talk and touch on a few other Big Ten teams. Of course, we had to talk about Iowa. Wes, he's a Big Ten guy, graduated from Indiana. Now he's out in Las Vegas helping the VSIN guys. So he did a lot of the writing and the stats here for this.
Yeah.
And him and his colleagues, they all, I think there was about 7 or 8 guys that helped write this and did the majority of the work. They all agree that Iowa's going to hit this over.
Yeah.
And I have to agree with them. I look at the schedule, and I think that's spot on with that 8 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they have Michigan. They have Ohio State on their schedule, and they have Wisconsin. Everybody else that's on their schedule, I've seen them beat, and I've seen them beat a lot.
Yeah.
Last 7 years, right, here in Land of the Corn.
Yep.
So I think they can get there, and all they have to do is win the games that they're supposed to win. And I know they don't always do that.
Yeah.
But even if they drop 1 or 2 of those, it'll still get them to 8 wins.
Exactly, Andy. That's what I was trying to get at, is that it's going to be a down year for Iowa. They are, used to these 9-10 win seasons nowadays. I really do not think that I think it's going to be right at this line. It's going to be a make or break, probably against us. 7.5.
Probably.
So I do think they hit the over. I think they get to 8 wins, and that -120 bet is probably a good bet.
I mean, they're heavy favorites in their first 3 games against South Dakota State, Iowa State, and Nevada.
Yep.
And that's going to give them a lot of confidence. And then their first road game is a conference foe at Rutgers, where they're also double-digit 12-point favorites. So they're not really going to see much resistance until that Michigan game, October 1st. I know Iowa State fans wouldn't agree with me, but, I mean, you're over a touchdown dog right now.
Yeah,
okay,
no doubt.
So, I mean, you are where you're at right now. And then they're going to be favorites again. So, I mean, they should get off to another really good start before they have to play Purdue, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nebraska to close it out.
For sure.
And for whatever reasons, did you know Nebraska's a 4-point favorite right now?
Well, they should be.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Of course they are. His history's on my side here.
Go Big Red.
But let's get back here to the Hawkeyes. I think we both have them covering this 7.5.
Yeah. No,
all right.
They're just too good of a team not to probably win 8 games.
Juice is worth the squeeze here. You like that?
I do.
All right. So let's move on out or move on south then down to Kansas State. Always fun to talk about the old Wildcats, especially this year.
Yeah, for sure.
I heard they have a transfer quarterback or something.
Yeah, some guy that we know pretty familiar with. Adrian Martinez did transfer from Nebraska
that's the guy. Yeah,
to Kansas State. The line right now here, Andy, on this one is right at 7. So they need...
It moved up to 7.
It moved up to 7.
I still got 6.5.
Yeah, no, my book has it at 7.
Ooh.
So they are projecting more wins for the Kansas State Wildcats. I still think it's pretty safe at this 7, and I will tell you why. But let me tell you a little bit more about this line. So the over right now is on my book is at 7, but that over bet is at -150. So these odds makers are not making this a cheap bet. You would have to risk $150 to win that 100.
Okay.
The under is sitting at plus money. So you really think that these odds makers don't want to give up that plus money. They think it's probably not going to happen, that they're not going to get 7 wins.
And they took away the hook. And what I mean by the hook is it was at 6.5.
Yeah.
When you have the hook, that half point there, that means there's not going to be a push.
No push.
I mean, there's no 7 or just solidified 6 wins.
Yeah.
Somebody's getting paid here. The books took that off the table. They're straight up, moved it up to 7.
Yeah.
And they're making a difficult bet here for you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Like we said, I really like the Kansas State Wildcats. They have probably one of the best running backs in the nation with Deuce Vaughn.
They do.
I really think Adrian's a very good upgrade for them at quarterback.
Yes.
If he hangs onto the ball, I really think he's going to have a good year. Finding a fresh start down there. I hope all the best for him, but I really like this offense down there. And in the Big 12, with a good offense, that means more wins. I think they get to 7. Probably 8.
I love everything you said there, but I am a non-Adrian believer. So even at 6.5, I like the under. Everything you said is right. They're going to rack up a lot of yards. He's an upgraded quarterback, but for some reason we figure out a way to throw a pick, put the ball on the ground. It's just amazing how Nebraska is able to lose.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm steadfast on that under, even at 6.5 with that hook. I would still take the under. I just think that Kansas State. They're going to be scratching their head like, what just happened?
Yeah.
I really think that's going to happen for him. But I'm with you. I wish Adrian Martinez the best. Great guy, great face of the program. He gave it his all. But I just too turnover prone, and at quarterback, you cannot be churning the ball over like that.
Okay.
Sorry, Wildcats, you are going under.
All right.
So that's bringing us back to Nebraska, what everybody's been waiting for. 7.5, a familiar number here.
Yeah. Seems like a lot of these teams in the Big Ten are sitting right around this same line here. Nebraska, the over is at a -110. The under is at a -120. That's 7.5 wins. I think everybody knows where I'm probably leaning on this one. I am going with the over with the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Boom!
I really think this is going to happen for us this year. I know that sounds like every year, but what I'm going to do here, Andy, Northwestern, we are favored by 13 points. It should be a win. That's 1-0. North Dakota, 2-0. Georgia Southern, 3-0. Oklahoma, number 9 team in the nation, comes into Lincoln. Let's say we lose that one.
Less than a 3-point favorite.
Less than a 3-point favorite, so something's happened. Let's say we lose that one. We're at 3-1 now. Indiana, not a big threat. Shouldn't be a big threat. We're at 4-1. Rutgers, 5-1. Purdue, 6-1. Illinois, 7-1. So the way that I'm looking at this football season, Andy, we are 7 wins going into the Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa stretch. All we have to do is hit one of these games, and we hit the over.
Hit one of them, brother. And Purdue's, I mean, that's almost a toss-up. You know, that's almost a pick-em.
Yeah.
Even the Wisconsin game's almost a pick-em right now. Obviously, this is preseason, a lot of speculation there. I'm going under. Sorry, I don't want to be the wet blanket here.
Boo!
I'm just looking. No, I'm looking at this college football betting guide. People that put a lot more into it than I do.
Okay.
And they're only favored in 7 games.
Yeah.
Okay? So I am not buying into this fact that they're going to pull one out when they're probably going to go the other way. I mean, that's what's been happening the last 5 years. They'll figure out ways to lose games.
Okay.
Meaning that even without the hook, I will be fine with the 7.5. I mean, shoot, if they win 6 games, 5 games, that's quite an upgrade from what we've seen the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, come on, Huskers. I hope I'm wrong. And this is not a bet that I'm going to be making because I would hate to do that. But if I had to bet this, I'm going under on the 7.5.
You are wrong. The Huskers are going at least 8 wins, probably 9.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this week for WTL. Be sure to follow us, guys, on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok to receive weekly free picks, hilarious short videos, feature-length episodes. And, oh, by the way, now we're on ESPN Tri-City SoundCloud. Woo! Catch us on, I think we're on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. Anyway you get your podcast, we are there. So for Jabron, the Parlay Pounder, I'm Andy Klassen. Thanks, folks, for listening. This has been WTL.